Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another VTuber reaction. This is one that I have not heard from a person I have not heard. Moona Hoshinova. It's a name I haven't even seen around, to be honest, but this is High Tide, and I'm going to be listening to the remastered version that came out a few months ago because while I'm sure the original definitely has its very strong fan base, like that's the original, that one's better, I'm sure the remastered is going to end up pulling things out of her voice and out of the song that usually wouldn't. That's usually why remasters happen to begin with, so I have a feeling I'll have a better first chance experience here if I just listen to the remastered one instead of like doing the animated music video that's out there, and I just figure this is a better experience to start on. So without further ado, let's go.
When you look up at the night sky, what do you see? The glowing beauty in the twilight. It's no mystery.
All right.
Watch me set the scene and let it all up. When the time has come, I'll be rising high. Lonely for me like a lifeline.
Ooh, I'm vibing with the fat beat. She got decent control over her voice so far too.
It's pulling you in like gravity. You will be blowing on your knees.
Ooh, with the delay.
Close to me. Watch my glory and I follow.
Nice.
My dreams will never stop. The time begins to rise to the top. Let my power ignite. Following like I.
All right. The production's going really hard here. A lot of room to breathe there.
That you give me into the brilliance, like him onto a line.
Hey. I'm really loving this instrumental, especially. VTubers and their music producers, though.
It's pulling you in like gravity. You will be bowing on your knees. Yeah, pulling you in close to me. Watch my glory and light. Following me like a high tide. My dreams will never stop. The time begins to rise to the top. Let my power ignite. Following me like a high tide.
Okay, where are we going? Ooh, we're opening up. Ooh. And softening it. I like the flow of this song a lot. All right. Ooh, I like that, the going up. That was sick. I love this part of the beat. Ooh, well that was like definitely unique, but in like all the best ways. All right, so I also went to go listen to the original mix just because I was curious on what the differences were there. I actually think I might prefer the original mix just a smidge. And the only reason I say that is because in the remastered version, I think they over glued it, which basically means they took all the frequencies and kind of sandwiched them together to make them feel a little bit more like uniform in the center. But in a lot of ways, while that is better, it also does kind of affect the vocal performance. In the original, her voice kind of set more on top and it was a little bit more clear, at least in my headphones. That's going to be different for every person depending on your hardware, of course. But that, in that case, and in my case, feels a little bit more bright, and I was able to kind of grasp more of what was happening there vocally. I also think that the remastered version had a little bit more slop with like the additional vocals in the background, like the backing vocals and everything. The like siren thing that they were doing with her voice too, that was a little bit more prominent, and I liked hearing that in the remastered one, but I liked it more in the original, for example. So it's a lot of little technical things there. I can't blame her for that, you know, like that's all production side, but she has the vocal chops. I actually think that some of her power was kind of crushed in the remaster, which usually is the opposite. So kind of intriguing that that was the way they went. Maybe there was just enough comments about how they preferred the other sound, because not a lot of people have higher grade audio equipment and they can't hear it how somebody in the mixing world would. Like, my headphones are not cheap. They're not the most expensive, but they definitely like lean towards the center flat kind of area. Whereas a lot of commercial speakers and headphones, especially stuff that's very popular like AirPods, are a lot more cranked to the highs, and you kind of lose that lower resonance, and therefore your ear starts to tweak itself to accept that higher range, and then you're like, where's all the sound? It's in that lower register that your shitty headphones can't take. I'm not clowning just on AirPods. That is literally every like earbud style thing where it's just small and they can't get the drivers to really shine because they just aren't built for that. They're built for commercial ears, which is basically, if it makes noise, sound good. That's all they care about. Let's be honest, in the grand scheme, most people who listen to music are, I like to hear the voice, also bass good, but bass go boom, and that's it. Like, I also can't say I'm not one of those people, because I do feel that a lot, but that's why I have headphones that are designed to be flat, so I can't just lean on that when I'm listening to a mix. I have to really listen to what's shining and what's not going to be shining, and listening to things on multiple devices in order to hear those differences, which not a lot of people get that privilege. So it's just a factor of the mix here that I'm like, I like the original a little bit more, but the remaster is still good in a lot of ways. I did mention that there was some spots in the backing vocals that I preferred in the original, and that is very much true. I think there was some stuff in the remastered one where I'm like, okay, there's a little bit too much information happening in the background, and it feels almost like the microphone she was recording on was a little bit cheaper. Like, things were just not present enough, and I feel like some of that performative edge was lost in this one. And that's not entirely her fault either. Like, there are some weird vocal choices in there. She's hitting the notes. That's good. She can sing. She's got the ability to hit that, but the power was lost in the mix, like I mentioned earlier. And a lot of the backing vocal stuff felt a little bit too present in this one. And so there was some frequencies crossing over each other in the vocals where I'm like, that sounded a little bit sour. And I'm not entirely sure if that's just the vocal part or if that is the mixing's fault. It can be kind of difficult to tell sometimes. Overall, I love the energy of it. The lyrics weren't bad, and everything production-wise, aside from my nitpicks about the mix, was really good. I love the beat. I love the instrumental. It's actually really fun and refreshing, like I said, in the way where it's kind of riding the coattails of that big K-pop sound. And while that's perfectly fine, and I personally enjoy that sound, I can definitely see some aspects of this song that weren't so stereotypical and were actually pretty original, even compared to those. It didn't stay safe. It had a few moments in there. Those pauses and breaks throughout really helped literally break up the song, and it made it feel a little bit more breathy. And that one big pause in the center, great pause, perfect length. Like, there's so many little technical things about this one. And as far as the voice goes on her, she can absolutely, I can hear it. She can wail. She can go full bow. She can go full Shy Lily. She can just womp the fuck out of that. You know what I mean? Like, I can hear that in her voice. The power's there. I really would love to hear this live, just full forward, full energy, just cranking her voice to its absolute max, obviously not hurting herself in the process, but you can feel that latent power on this song. And that's kind of why I prefer the original, because I can hear that power in there, and I really want to hear more of it. if this mix were to allow it. But point aside, I've been through plenty of that. I've gone through the ringer of all the technical stuff and all of my own personal opinions on her voice and everything. Good song, good performer. Honestly, probably one of the best ones I've heard so far, especially in her range that's a little bit lower. But there were definitely spots where like she would crank it just a little bit high and I'm like, you're hitting your limit there, but it never really sounded bad. You could just tell that she was kind of reaching the top of her range. She never pushed it so far where I'm like, ugh, that sounded awful. So all in all, great performance, great performer. I can't wait to hear more from Moona at this point because this is a good first experience. I'm glad I did what I did and listened to both so I could kind of get the experience from both sides of that coin. But I guess that's all I got to say on this one. So if anybody has any other songs from Moona or anybody else in the VTubing space that I haven't heard of maybe, and you want me to hear them, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to get to it. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!